But no, we see the cars. We see the nice clothes. We see the nice houses and think, Almighty has blessed them and not me. But we don't see the state of their minds. That they're popping 20 pills a day just to stop themselves, so they think, from killing themselves. Yet here we are, being rested in His Shabbat. Hallelujah. Hopefully, with no worries or stress. Hallelujah. That no matter what goes on to the people we love, we know He is in control. Hallelujah. The intangible things sometimes is what we need to look at, that Almighty is blessing us with. We can't let faith fail because of pressure. We know how diamonds are made, right? By tons and tons of pressure being put on. Not for a short while, but for a long time. That's how diamonds are made. So when pressure is put on our faith, a lot of pressure that we think we will break, and for a long, long time, we have to keep standing so that we will come out on the end. We need to trust Him despite the storm. We know Kepha, right? He walked on water when you saw Yeshua walking on water. And Yeshua said, if you believe, here, come to me. But when the waves got rocky, when the waves start getting windy, he doubted. And he started falling. He started sinking. He started drowning. Then he called for Yeshua, Master, save me. Yeshua reached his hand out and lifted him up. When the storm was wrecking that ship and Yeshua was sleeping, oh, they were banging on that door because they were worried. They did not know what was going to happen. They feared for their lives. We don't even fear for our lives here. We feel so safe. Some of us have 10 guns in the house thinking that's going to save us. Have 10 bolts on the door thinking that's going to protect us. We feel safe. Phone is right there. I can dial 911 right there. We feel safe. We're not worried about our death. Some of us have never been worried for our death. So sometimes we don't know what we will do. We can talk all we want, but until that time comes, we don't know. Will we doubt like they did? But again, these are the disciples we're talking about, right? Because they stood, despite all the things that they doubted within themselves, we exist today. We have the New Testament, so we know, because of them today. Yeah. They weren't perfect in all their walk. You know, I remember a message by Brother Gray a long time ago. He said, we ask for forgiveness, but do we believe that forgiveness? Sometimes we look at ourselves so badly, so negatively, that even if we believe Almighty has forgiven us, we still have guilt. Why? It's because we did not believe we can be forgiven. Many of us wrestled with that. Maybe some of us still wrestle with it. We can't shake that guilt off. We can't shake the feeling of not being enough off. But Almighty has already chosen us. And if we really believe that He is the author and finisher of our faith, then He can bring us through. That it is a gift that He will bring us through. So that even if we feel like we can't walk anymore, He will carry us and bring us through. In Job chapter 42, we know in the chapters before this one, Yeshua asked Job, why are you asking all these questions? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who you're asking counsel from? Do you know who gave the stars and counted the stars, who made the earth and the heavens and all the creatures? Do you know? You don't even know, and yet you're asking for why I'm doing the things I'm doing to you. So Job was not only whooped, so to speak, physically, he was also spiritually chastised. And Job answered Yahweh and said, you know that you are able to do all, and that no reason or purpose is hidden from you. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I declared, but I did not understand. Why? Things too marvelous for me, which I did not know. That's the key. We don't know what we don't know. We will go through things and we don't know why. Why is it so hard? Why is it so painful? You can cry all night long, for days, for weeks. And we keep asking, I don't understand. And we just keep asking Almighty Yah. And maybe He will tell us the same thing He told Job. Do you even know who I am to ask me why I'm doing the things I'm doing? There's a parable, I think, in India, where there is a doctor, where there's a rich man who was shot with a bow and arrow, and the arrow was poisoned. And so his families came and they called a doctor to get the arrow out and cure him. But the rich man says, don't take it out until I know who shot me. Well, guess what happens? He dies. Sometimes that's what we do, right? All we do is wonder why? When maybe the answer is something we don't even have to know. It's certainly something we don't need to know to get through it. You know, as a child, we always ask, why, Mom? Why, Dad? Why won't you let me go? Why won't you let me do this? And you know what they always say? Because I said so. Boy, that made me so mad. I'm good with words, so I'm just looking for them to give me a reason that I can argue with them with. But all they say is, because I said so. But we wonder why we go through things. We expect Almighty God to say, oh, because of this, oh, because of that. Our focus is on finding out why, that maybe we lose sight of the goal and fall off. Instead of focusing on the goal and keep walking. Because I remember when I had a lot of questions, my sister Natalie told me, why are you even thinking about that stuff? How does that even matter? Because the more we ask why, the more we answer ourselves why. We come up with our own answers. And a man who's wise in his own eyes is no better than a fool. That's in Proverbs. So we keep asking why, and all these questions pile up in our heads, unanswered. And then because we've had enough questions unanswered in our heads, then we think, oh, that foundation starts to break. We start to really question. Then we really have doubt. So we can do two things with doubt. Keep feeding it, or keep walking outside of it. Keep leaving it behind. Because Like Job said, these things are too marvelous for us to understand. You know, me and Sister Mary and Brother Blackwell were talking in the back over there. What'll happen in judgment? What about all those babies who died in the womb? Babies who were born without any ability to speak, to hear, to see. What will happen to them? You know, and I know this, and in the world, they ask these types of questions to denounce the truthfulness of Scripture. Because they think, because there is no answer, then there is no Elohim. Because they expect the Scripture to provide everything for everyone. But in the Scripture, Job says, these things are too marvelous for me to know. So sometimes maybe we shouldn't ask, why am I going through this? Maybe we should just ask, Father, can you please help me get through it? Maybe that's the only question we need to ask. Because we know the power of asking too many questions. You know, a friend of mine told me, why are you asking a question you don't want the answer to? You know, sometimes you want to ask your friend, do you really like me? Do you really enjoy being my friend? And then they tell you, no, I don't. I'm just here because I live with you. Maybe you shouldn't have asked that question. Maybe we want to ask our husband or wife, do you really love me? Because it doesn't seem like you love me. And then they finally say, no, I don't love you, I want to get divorced. Maybe we shouldn't have asked that question. Maybe we should have just worked on ourselves rather than asking. So that no matter what it is that they think about me, I know where I stand with the Father. I will keep walking to become better. Because every man must work on their own soul salvation. The opinion of others is not going to help getting us in the kingdom. In 1 Kings, we're going to one of the most powerful prophets, so to speak. You know, I think it was Pastor Isaac who says, he doesn't like the phrase minor prophet. He doesn't like it. Why? Because he thinks there's no such thing as a minor prophet. If you are chosen by Almighty Yah to speak His word, you're not minor. But we categorize the prophets, how? By the amount of things they say and the amount of things, the miracles that they did. So if we're going to categorize them in our little minds like that, well then let's go to one of the most powerful prophets, Elijah. Now we know what happened, right? Elijah went up against the hundreds of the prophets, so to speak, of Baal. And guess what happened? He poured all